Okay guys, ending my Friday with a little bit of what is honestly kind of stressful news. Is back in the Valorant scene, we've got another case of some alleged scammers in the scene, but this time it's an entire organization. Phoenix One is a name you might remember from back in the day as an LCS contender before rebranding in 2018 into the Sentinels. So this is where things get interesting, because the Phoenix One we are talking about here doesn't seem to have any relation to the present day Sentinels. They were operating as a Valorant organization and using the Phoenix One logo and name. Now, we have no idea. I have no way of finding out. They haven't responded to any DMs of mine, whether or not they bought this brand maybe from the previous owners, from Sentinels, or if they were just illegally using it and just decided to use an old brand that wasn't being used anymore. We have no idea, no confirmation of that, so that's just a little bit of an observation. Now, besides all of that weirdness, we'll get into everything, but I do want to preface this story with I can't cover every single detail in this. I can't say everyone's name or read every email that we have. So if you want a more thorough and maybe get all of the details version of this story, Run It Back actually did a great article on it and organized it very well in a really easy to read manner. Our two main characters in this story, that is the two people we heard the most about and the most from, would be Apex and King. King being a player who is actually not contracted, and Apex being a coach for the team. Now, the other four players that were not King were actually contracted through the organization and had their contracts, laid out and signed and all of that. But King ended up filling in for someone else and was just there for a bit of a trial period. And all of the players involved, including King and Apex, only ever had communication with their director of esports. They never spoke to the owners. That was their point of contact, who would then, supposedly relay their messages to the owners and be their point of contact, because I guess they had way too much going on their plate somehow. But moving on from that, once King was, not contracted, but playing for the team in tournaments, the team ended up winning a couple of tournaments, one of which would have netted each of them $1,000 and the other netting each of them $300. So that is a total of $1,300 of prize money for each player that should have been paid out to them. Now, they did not receive this, and both of those things, the fact that they never spoke to the owners and the fact that they're not getting the money from either of those tournaments, first off, is a red flag to me. Right off the bat, those are red flags. So the team decides to buy out their contracts. They say, we're going to look, somewhere else. We did well in these tournaments. Maybe someone else will want to pick us up as a team. And so they buy out their contracts, as they are allowed to do. Phoenix One did not like this and posted this statement. We are very saddened we were given such short notice and were not given any chance to work with them on this decision. We wish them all the best of luck on their free agent journey and in their Valorant careers. That being said, we will be taking a short break from competition to rebuild and restructure. True to our name, we will be reborn stronger and return with the same fire we always do. So King goes public with the information, posts about how they haven't been paid and nothing is being fulfilled from Phoenix One. The CFO reaches out to the players and pretty much tells them that the owners, these mystery owners, have decided to cease operations, which was because of what you guys ended up collectively deciding to do, but more so how you chose to handle the situations. This led to them being hesitant about working with you guys on the aftermath of the situation. The players and Apex, the coach, tried to reach out plenty of times to different representatives of the organization through email, and one of them ended up even being way too sassy for my liking at least, and a little bit hostile in some of their replies. He informs King that the org did receive the funds from the tournaments, but he has no idea where they would be. I guess the thousands of dollars just kind of disappeared and they can't keep track of it. I don't know. But he then goes on to say that their previous contact is no longer at the company, so he can't be held accountable for anything he said. And like I said, guys, we do have a lot more emails, a lot more screenshots of email chains between representatives and players or the coach And I really just can't show all of them. But what I really do want to show is I was also sent a copy of the contract, which I think is important so that we know people aren't just BSing, about what this contract said. We see that in relation to the prize money, the org receives 0% of any prize money earned. So boom, right there, we already know that they shouldn't keep any amount of the money. We also see that they should have paid them within 10 days of receiving the money. And as we know, that last representative told us that they did in fact receive the money, they just don't know where it is. Later on, there's a section allowing players to buy out for $500. And after reading it, I saw that there was a mistake in this section of one of the players' contracts, as you can see here, where it says, $10,000 or $500. And so, that's another red flag for me. If I had been doing the contracts or signing my own contract, I feel like I would have tried to notice that ahead of time. If an organization can't even have proper contracts and have it, consistent throughout, then there's a problem there, right? Like, you should be aware of what your contracts are saying. Maybe have a lawyer read over it if you're signing something as big as this. But ultimately, guys, what can I say? I'm not a lawyer, okay? Surprise, surprise, Hunter's not a lawyer, so I can't read through this whole thing. I can comb through these contracts and figure out where this organization feels like they're in the right and what they're trying to get out of these players. And so I really can't do that. I know that the players and the coach have actually hired a lawyer and that they are involved and it is a legal situation. And so I'm sure they're having that handled on their end of it. I'd also like to say that I tried to reach out to Phoenix One about this situation because we like to have both sides of it. We heard from these players, we have all these read receipts and everything like that, but the organization, maybe they have a different side of the story. Maybe they are going to be able to tell us something that the players didn't want to, something along those lines, but the organization has refused to reach back out, and so there's not even a way for us to tell their story. So at this point, we can really only see one side of these allegations, which is a hard story to tell for people like us because, like I said, we like to be able to show both sides. But at this point, it seems like Phoenix One is definitely in the wrong, and it is just a tricky situation where it feels like they're just getting away with not paying their players that should have been paid, and that they were, a little bit saucy about these players deciding to leave and look for other opportunities. I will say the only good news in all of this, I feel like, is that the team did end up getting picked up by Noble, which was awesome to see. A little bit of sass, in the announcement post, which was always funny. A nice little nod to the fact that they came from this whole crazy Phoenix situation. And so, yeah, that's really all I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think about it. Maybe there's some lawyers in the comments that know, what the heck is going on or what we can do about this. But until next time, guys, be safe, be smart, behave, and I'll catch you later.